Why am I asked to sign a written agreement? That's the recent question that I get from most potential buyers. Hi, my name is Robbie Thomas with Realty Experts, your Bay Area downsizer. So, why am I being asked to sign a written buyer agreement? It's a specific agreement between a buyer and a realtor. So, if you're a home buyer working with an agent who is a realtor, it means that you are working with a professional who's ethically obligated to act in your best interest. And as of August 17, 2024, you will be asked to sign a written agreement after you have decided to work with that particular agent. And that applies across all 50 states. So, here's what you should know about these agreements. Hope I can share some light on this subject through a series of questions I have got recently from a lot of my buyers who are confused because of the conflicting data online. So I just thought I'll just make a very specific, detailed video and I can send it out. And then if you still have any questions or doubts or concerns, you can still reach out to me directly anytime. And I can explain or help you understand even deeper. So the first question I get is, what is a written buyer agreement and what does it do? So, a written buyer agreement is an agreement between you, the potential buyer who decides to become the buyer. That is a slight process, and that you have decided to buy your house, and you and your real estate professional agent, who's a realtor, outlining the services and scope of your real estate needs and wants, and what the agent will be compensated. And it's very specific. That's all it is, but it has to be done. The next question I got was, why am I being asked to sign an agreement? So, for the last 6, 7 decades, there was no real requirement for a buyer to sign a buyer agreement with the buyer's agent, simply because the listing agent who used to list the property on the MLS or the multiple listing service, through the negotiation during the listing period, used to get the cooperating broker. They used to divide. The listing agent used to help with the help of the seller, and cooperation, pay for the buyer's agents through the advertisement, and first of all through the listing agreement, and that reflects in the MLS, and that used to be syndicated or publicized through to all or any agents who wanted to get that information. That has gone away. So when the buyer agreements became the buyer broker agreement, that's what it's called, became a nationwide requirement for many real estate professionals as part of the National Association of Realtors proposed settlement of litigation related to broker commissions. The requirement went into effect on August 17, 2024. As of August 17, 2024, every single realtor who's representing a buyer has to have a buyer broker agreement with their buyer. Next question. Are these agreements new? In some states, yes, but in some other states, no. Like for in California, that agreement was always there. I mean, I've been in business for over 10 years and I've seen that agreement, but I've never used that agreement in a conversation with the buyer simply because there was not really any need for that because I used to get paid through the agreement off of the listing agent, as I'd mentioned earlier, through the advertisement on MLS, and whatever the agreed upon compensation was, like the commission and the percentage was, after the close of escrow, the escrow used to collect the money and pay that portion towards my compensation. So I never had to have an agreement as such. But because of this, the mandate nationwide for all the 50 states after August 17, 2024, every single buyer has to have this agreement. So as a result, it is entirely possible. I may have not used in the past, but here on it has to be used nationwide. Next question I got is, are these agreements negotiable? Answer is yes. Anything and everything is negotiable in this contract, because you are, as a buyer, can question me, and I can interview you, and you can interview me, and come to a consensus, and a meeting of the minds, so to speak, as to how much, what you're comfortable with, and what you are capable, or your capacity to pay, or the time frame included, or the cities you want to go, what kind of properties you want to look at, and the compensation. None of this is set by law. It is only a once you come to an understanding of what you require as a buyer, and what fees, the compensation that you're going to pay, it comes to know, it has to be then gone onto it has to then go onto a written agreement, and the compensation should be clearly defined. It cannot be an open-ended or a range. It cannot be X or Y. It has to be X, or it has to be Y, but it has to come on the paper, and both parties, that is you, the buyers, and me, the agent, who's a realtor, has to sign it. And you only have to sign an agreement after it reflects what both parties have agreed to. Okay. Next question is, how do I benefit from these agreements? Well, these agreements clearly lay out what services you as a homeowner can expect from me, and what I will be paid, as mentioned earlier in the earlier question. So these agreements make things very clear and reduce any potential confusion or ambiguity straight from the outset of the relationship between both parties. The next question is, when do I need to sign an agreement? As I had mentioned earlier, and I'll say it again. You will be asked to enter into a written agreement with me before touring a property. I mean, even if you take a link that you got from any third party vendor and you send it to me, I cannot do anything. I cannot send you any information, because I have to establish a agency relationship between you as the buyer and me as your realtor before sending you any information. That is a requirement. Whether it is in person or whether it is done virtually, there's no way around. So if you're simply visiting an open house, and I'm not holding the open house, and we don't have a prior relationship, and somebody else is there in the open house, some other agent is holding the open house, and they ask you to sign in, and the same buyer broker agreement, you need not sign in if you have already have an agreement with me. And if you don't have an agreement with me, you still don't have to sign in, but you are limited to the information that you will receive at that point, because the agent is not obligated to give you, because that agent is not your specific agent, because you don't have an agency relationship with that particular agent. Regarding this, there's more depth to it, but if you reach me personally, I will be able to explain it at a much deeper level. Next question is, does this mean that I have to pay my real estate professional out of pocket? Answer is not necessarily. While you are responsible for paying me, your real estate professional, as outlined by the buyer broker agreement, we can still request, negotiate, um, even verbally or through an email or a text, to and receive compensation from me or agent, from the seller or the agent, uh, the information through the agent, that is, through initial communication. Once you've identified, let's say you identified a property, you asked me to dig up on that, more information on that, I could then reach out to the listing agent and ask if the seller is willing to give any money towards the seller concession towards the buyer agent's compensation, which is me. And and that time, the seller may have offered or may not have offered, but it's a case to case, every property, every seller, because no two sellers are the same. And some sellers have the leeway, some have equity, some don't. It may not make financial sense for them to say yes, and sometimes they'll say no, but most cases they always say yes, because they understand that no buyer agent will be willing to work for free, and if the buyer doesn't have the money to pay the buyer's agent, then they might not get a real qualified offer. But there is no set rule that they have to give any compensation, although they might. So if the seller is offering, let's say, Y percentage of the sale of the home towards the buyer agent, and not X as you and I had signed on the buyer broker agreement prior to even viewing the property, or any information was gathered about the property, then you will be liable to pay, obligated to pay out of pocket for the difference if it is a higher amount. So this is also one reason why you need a hard seasoned negotiator on your side, because as I said earlier, no two sellers are alike, and some may offer and some may not, and it is up to the skill of the buyer agent to negotiate that through the offer that they make. um, and if the negotiation is good and strong, no money will come out of your pocket towards your buyer's agency compensation that you have to pay through escrow. Moving on to the question number eight is: do agreements dictate a specific type of relationship that I have to have with my real estate professional? The answer is no. You are allowed to enter into any type of business relationship with your real estate professional, that is me, if you're working with me, allowed by state law, where you are purchasing a home. So if you're purchasing in a particular state, like in this particular case, I'm in California, I mean, you can, as whatever the state law allows, you can do. You're not stuck to only this particular type of business relationship with me. Uh, Next question, item number nine is: can I change or exit an agreement that I've already signed? The buyer broker agreement is signed, let us say, and you, for some reason, you want to change it. Maybe you want to put it off for a while. Maybe you don't want to buy at this point. Maybe you're not happy with my level of service. Maybe you found somebody who you find is more valuable than me. Whatever the reason may be, the answer is yes. You and the real estate professional, which is me, can mutually agree to change your agreement or cancel your agreement. But all agreements must have specific conditions under which they can be exited. So you must have a real reason as to why you're exiting. I mean, let's say I showed you the property and then you want to back out of the property and you want to still write the offer on the property through another agent, through another the process is the same. I mean, there's no way around it, um, that you can write an offer unless you want to write the offer yourself, at which point you're unrepresented. That means anything can happen, which is you have no real agency representation, because even if you write the offer, the listing agent is not obligated to represent you, because the listing agent is representing the seller. And unless you have a buyer broker agreement, again with the listing agent too. But in that case, because I've already showed you the property and I am the procuring cause, I procured that property for you through the showing, through the discussion and everything. Then what happens is, like, you are still obligated to pay me even if you get into escrow or you get the property into your you were able to get that property through the listing agent, at which point you will have to pay the sell listing agent too. So keep all this in mind before you cancel. I mean, always discuss with your agent, whoever it is, or with me if you're working with me, if you'd like to change or exit your agreement. If there's any more, I mean, it's not as simple as it sounds, but if you want more clarity, just reach me anytime at 510-374-2264, and I will take you through the entire process step by step. If there's any more questions that come to you, or that you come across through your friends, or any interactions that you have, or any thought that come across concerning this particular thing, just give me a call at 510-374-2264, or email me at robbysellshomes@gmail.com, or just visit my website, bayareadownsizer.com. I am your Bay Area downsizer, and I will get you your dream home at your time frame the best way I can. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye.